Good morning, students, and welcome to this series on MATLAB on RAM. We have, in the last session, we have seen two small projects in MATLAB. Now, let us move on and see some more information about it. In today's session, we are going to see how we can work with tables in a MATLAB. Tables is a special data type in MATLAB which can store variables of different kind. For example, in this table you can see on the right hand side that there are four columns. The first column is consisting of strings, the second column is consisting of numbers, and third and fourth. So this way table can contain different kinds of data types in a single variable. So how do we load a table? So in this exercise, the table is already saved in a mat file, load data file, and then I simply write the name elements. So when I say elements, it will open the table elements. So this table elements is stored in the workspace. And how we got this elements here? By using the command load data file. And data file is already stored inside MATLAB. So someone has prepared this table and stored it in the name name data file. When we use the command load data file, it will be loaded into MATLAB workspace, right? To extract a variable from the table, we can use the dot notation, right? For example, in this table there are four columns: element, density, volume 1, volume 2. Suppose you want to extract the contents of density column, so you should write elements dot density, okay? And the assignment operation, that means if we want to assign this extracted value, as usual we will use the equal to. So the first task is assign the contents of elements dot density to a column vector named D. So what I will do, I will simply write D equal to, and I will write elements is the name of the table, dot density. Density is the name of this column, okay? And I will run the section. So after running the section, I can see the output that the column vector, the column density is assigned to the variable D. On your right hand side, you can see for yourself. So D is 0.531.78. This is nothing but the column density, right? So it is a very simple notation. By using a simple dot, we can extract the entire column. This is slightly different than the matrix form, wherein we have to use parenthesis and provide the location, first column, second column, like that, okay? But it is more similar to, if you have studied Python or any other language, so it is more similar to that kind of a notation where you can simply put a dot and then extract a particular row or a column. I hope you have understood this much. Moving on, the second task is multiply each element of density column with the volume 1 column. Okay, now when we work with the table, we might want to keep related data together. Instead of creating a separate variables, we can assign the result of a calculation to a table, new table, right? For example, data dot height meters equal to data dot height yards multiplied by 0.9144. So here we are simply converting the yards into meters, and if this new variable is not existing, the new variable is created, right? So for example, the task given to us is multiply each elements of elements dot density with elements dot volume 1 and assign the result to elements dot mass. Now there is no column mass in this table, but we can create it simply by typing like this. I'll say elements dot mass equal to. So when I say equal to, whatever is happening on the right hand side, the calculation will be done and will be assigned to the left hand side variable. So I'll write elements dot mass equal to elements dot density, which is the existing column in the table. Now since I want to do element by element multiplication, I will use the notation dot star. Instead of star, I will use dot star equal to elements dot mass equal to elements dot density dot star elements dot volume 1. So what this will do, it will multiply the two columns density and volume 1 element by element and it will create a new column whose name will be elements dot mass. That means a new column mass will be generated. Let us run this section and see for ourselves. So after this running the section, we should get a new column in the table whose name should be mass and the value should be the multiplication of both. Okay, so I come to this table and I scroll to the end. I see new column is added mass, and this new column is having the multiplication of elements by element multiplication of density and volume column, right? I hope you got this particular thing, right? So the logic is very simple. If you want to extract a particular column of a table, use the table name, put a dot, use the column name. Moving on to the next task, we can interact with a table by clicking on it in the output pane of a live script. For example, we can sort a table using its variables, okay, and we can make the permanent changes after doing the update code. The task given to us is sort the table by smallest to largest mass. Okay, so if I come to this table in the here and I will go to the mass column, I click on this column head. You see there is an arrow here. I click on this arrow. It is asking me sort. How do I want to sort? Largest, smallest to largest. So I'll simply click on sort smallest to largest, right? Once I do that, it will take some time and then it will sort the table accordingly. After sorting the table, it will also tell me the code there. So we can use that command. Yeah, so sorting is done. So it will tell me update code. If I do update code, it will update the code. That means the code will be automatically written, right? So this is how you can play around with the tables. Okay, so I hope you have got till this point clearly. Well, there must be a question coming into your mind that we can use the dot operator to extract a column. How do I extract a row? So to extract the rows, we can use the standard notation, that means the colon operator, etc. So for example, if you want to extract the first 3 rows of this matrix, you can simply use the command elements in bracket 1 colon 3. 1 colon 3 means from first row to third row, comma colon. Colon means all the columns, right? So the standard method like this can be utilized for row operations. Generally, the rows are indices in a table and columns are the variables, different variables which are stored in the form of a table. So generally the dot operator is used for extracting the columns only, not the rows. So this you have to keep in mind. So I've just entered this here and I am running this section for your benefit. And you can see, so once I run this, the new variable will be created with the name top3 and it will have elements 1 to 3 with all the columns. I hope you have understood this. Okay, let us move on and study the next topic, that is logical indexing. In MATLAB, we can use relational operators such as greater than, less than, equal to and not equal to perform comparison between two values. The outcome of a comparison for equality or inequality is either 1, that is true, or 0, that is false. Let us do this task, which is asking us to use the relational operator to test if pi is less than 4 and assign the output to a variable named as test. So what I can do is I can use the new variable test equal to pi less than 3. Okay, pi less than 3. So I am checking that. So let me run this section and let us check how it works, whether it returns error or it runs properly. What we are trying to check here is the value of pi. You remember pi is inbuilt variable in MATLAB. So you got the answer test equal to 0, right? Why equal to 0? Because it is not true. Whenever the condition is not true, the result will be 0. Because pi is 3.14, it is not less than 3, so we got answer as 0. So such relational operators will always result in answers 1 or 0. This you have to remember. That will be a binary outcome. Either the answer will be 1 or it will be 0. If the condition is true, whatever you are asking, the condition is true, answer will be 1. Otherwise, if the condition is false, the answer will be 0, right? Now the is test assigned correctly? All right, pi is less than 4. Okay, the question was pi is less than 4. I have used 3, so the answer was incorrect. Let me correct it. I will make it 4. Now it should give me the correct answer. All right, so I hope you have understood the use of this relational operator. Let us perform the remaining tasks one by one. Okay, moving ahead, let us now see the next part, that is the next task. The question is, test the vector v1 for elements that are less than 4 and assign the output to a variable named as test. So as we have done for a single variable, you can use it for a vector as well. So in a vector you have more number of elements. For example, 7 elements are there. So when we use such a condition, test equal to v1 less than 4, what it will do, it will check every element of v1 whether it is less than 4 or not. If it is less than 4, answer will be 1 at that position, or it will be 0. Okay, so this is the command that I have to write, and when I submit this command, okay, you can see on right hand side you get a variable test which is 0 0 1 1 0 0 0. So what this indicates, all these 0 values indicate that at these points the value of the variable test, vector test, is less than 4, and wherever 1 value is there, at that position the value of that vector v1 is not less than 4. Okay, so it can be equal to 4 but not less than 4. So this is how you can do this particular task. Let us move on to the next task. Now we can use MATLAB. You can use logical array as an array index, in which case MATLAB extracts the array elements where the index is true. So sometimes you will require such a condition wherein you have to extract the indices where it is true. The following example will extract all elements in v1 that are greater than 6. So when you write v equal to v1 in bracket v1 greater than 6, what it will do, it will extract all those values which are greater than 6. Okay, so suppose your matrix is given and you are asked to find out all the values which are less than 4. Okay, this is the task given to us. Create a variable v containing all the elements in v1 that are less than 4. So I will write v equal to v1. Okay, in parenthesis I will write the condition v1 less than 4. So I am creating a new vector v1. Okay, I am creating a new variable v which is extracting only those values which are less than 4. So this can be done using the relational operator. So how this is working? So first of all you go inside the bracket. So v1 less than 4 will create all the indices where the value is 1. Okay, so v1 less than 4, whenever this condition is true, it will find out what are the positions where the index is 1, and for these indexes it will extract the value and you will get the answer. So on right hand side you get, so v is 1.5177 and 3.6375. Okay, so I hope you have got this particular thing. Okay dear students, let us move on and take up the next task, which is talking about how we can use the logical indexing with two different vectors. For example, if I want to check that, if I want to create a new vector v which contains the elements in sample, the vector sample, where v1 is greater than 6. Okay, so let me break this down for you. So first of all, I will check for the indices where v1 is greater than 6. I will check for the indices where v1 is greater than 6. Wherever this condition is true, for those values I will take the value, take the elements from sample. Okay, and it will give me 18 and 23, right? So let us do this task and understand it in a better way. Now it is asking us create a variable s that contains the elements in sample corresponding to where v1 is less than 4. Corresponding to where v1 is less than 4, right? So where v1 is less than 4, so we see that v1 is less than 4 at two places in the third and fourth place. So we want to extract this third and fourth place, and for this third and fourth place, what is there in the sample that we are going to take out. Okay, so this can be done like this. Let me type sample first and run this action. This will show us what is exactly inside sample. So in sample we have these numbers 3, 18, 19, 20, 21, 23 and 38, right? So now when I say, and I will also for your understanding, I'll also type V1. Let us see both of them so that it will be more clear to you. Okay, so this is our V1, this is our V1, and this is our sample, right? Now let me run this. V is equal to sample V1 greater than 6. So where V1 is greater than 6, at that position whatever values are present, that position will be given to us when I run this program. So when I write this code, first of all I will write V1 greater than 6. So where is V1 greater than 6? Second position, third, fourth, fifth, sixth position. So second position and sixth position in V1 is greater than 6. Now we will go to sample. In this sample we will look at the second position and sixth position. What are the values? 18 and 23. So that is the output I will get, right? So this is also how you can use it. Now let us do the task which is given to us. The task is we have to create a variable s. Okay, I'll write s equal to, that contains the elements in sample, corresponding to where v1 is less than 4. So I'll write v1 less than 4. So what this will do? This will first go to v1, check at what position the value of v1 is less than 4. So you can see this at the third and fourth position the value is less than 6. Then it will go to sample and it will go to third and fourth position and it will return the output. So what is at the third position? 19. What is at the fourth position? 20. So this should return 19 and 20. So let us check this. Let us submit this and check it whether it is correct or not. Okay. Yes. So we got 19 and 20. This is what we expected, right? So this is how you can use the logical operators even to perform complex operations. You can use logical indexing to reassign values in an array. For example, if you wish to replace all values in the array x that are equal to 999 with the value 1, we'll use this syntax. Okay. So if I want to say that wherever x is 999, first find that position and replace that position with 1. Okay, so this command will be used. So how this will work? First of all, inside the bracket this condition will run. So x double equal to, please note this is double equal to. Double equal to is not assignment, it is checking, right? So if x is equal to 999, then the answer will be 1, otherwise it will be 0. So this particular left side will return us all the positions where the value is equal to 999. Once we get those positions, we'll go to those positions and put the value as 1, right? So let us try this. It is asking us modify v1 so that any value less than 4 is replaced with the value 0. Okay, so any value which is less than 4 is replaced with 0. So how we'll do this? I'll write v1 in bracket. I will check v1 for any value less than 4. Okay, so v1, where v1 is less than 4, equal to 0. So what this will do? It will first check wherever, at whatever positions v1 is less than 4, and then for those positions it will replace it by 0. Let us submit this and check it. Great. So we got our answer. So at these two positions, at third and fourth position v1 was less than 4, so both these values are replaced by 0. Okay, so this is how you can use the logical operators to get the tasks done. In further practice, you can use the logical operators and or to combine logical operators. For example, to find the values less than 4 and greater than 2, we can use AND operator. Okay, so you know logical AND and OR, you must have studied this. So this can be done. So if I write where v1 is less than 4 and v1 is greater than 2. So if both these conditions are satisfied, only for those conditions we'll get the indices and we'll get the value of x, right? We can also use OR condition. If you want to find the values greater than 6 or less than 2, then we can use the OR operator, right? So this way you can use the logical operators and OR also to combine. You can use AND and OR to combine the logical operators which you have seen. Okay, so I hope this is very clear to you, right? So this completes our section 12.1, which is logical instruction, logical operators, right? So right now we will pause here, and in the next video we will go to programming constructs, because that is a very important video. So today we'll stop here. Thank you so much for your listening, and do practice till this point.